All right, so welcome to today's podcast. I'm your host, Scott Engler, published author and thought leader on contemporary job search strategies and really optimizing your professional brand and your networking on LinkedIn and both on and offline to really help you get the ideal job that you're wanting. Really excited today because I'm going to get to announce something that at the end of this podcast that I really think that people that are going to resonate with are going to want to be a part of. And those that aren't going to resonate with it won't. So that's totally fine. And that leads into the topic, which is what distinguishes what I believe a client is that makes them what I'd call a 5-star client and able to get the best results in landing their next job. Now, mind you, when I say 5-star, I know, for some people, they might think of a 5-star resort and that, a super high end or whatnot. And sure, there is a level of that, but regardless of who you are and what you have at this moment, you could still have a 5-star mentality. And while I primarily work with 45 to 65-year-old job seekers that are executives and VPs and, director of operations. This could be, applied by anybody. So I really want to share that this isn't to make anyone feel like they're not part of the club. It's just to give you an idea of what I've found over the years working with people one-on-one for close to 15 years now, what makes people what I would consider 5-star. And then I'm going to talk about how I, work to create a 5-star experience for my clients to attract more of those. So the first thing is that when we're all in different stages of our lives, but when people come to me and they're usually in they're in certain stages of a process of making a decision, right? And so, when people aren't ready to commit to something, they're not going to experience as good of a result. So the first thing is that they got to be willing to say, yes, I'm ready to do this. It's scary to make any change in life, but, dabblers are just not people that get great results. And again, that doesn't mean that that's not something that people could change, but I'm giving you distinguishing factors, right? 5-star clients know how to take responsibility for their own results, right? It's a partnership. Like any, could you imagine if you're a sports fan, if Michael Jordan expected Phil Jackson to come out on the basketball court and play for him, what he would laugh in his face, right? It's a two-way street, right? So while I'm doing the coaching and consulting and obviously have a certain understanding of things, you're the player, right? You're the one that needs to go out and play. And the all-star clients or 5-star clients have an understanding that they are responsible ultimately for their own success, right? It's not all contingent on me, and then some people just like to blame it on somebody else for their lack of results, right? It's really both of us bringing our A game. One of the other things is that they have a positive attitude. And look, I get that it's frustrating to be in a space where you haven't been getting good results, but that's why you're coming to a professional, right? If I was trying to, train for a triathlon on my own or like Ironman or something like that, and I wasn't, qualifying to get in there, well, maybe I need to hire somebody that has trained a lot of people to enter into the Ironman, and then, be optimistic. Well, if this person's successfully trained a lot of people, I feel good about the relationship, and, that's what I need right now. So that's another thing is trusting the process. And I find that my best clients aren't coming to me demanding a specific, outcome in 2 weeks. They understand that there's a process. They trust the process, and are open to seeing realistic expectations. Is getting your dream job in 2 weeks when you're going for an executive position and the standard time is 6 to 12 months a realistic expectation? Absolutely not, right? And so it's like, a 5-star client understands that, hey, obviously our goal is going to be to get you what you want in a shorter amount of time. That's part of the value of the service, right? But to not expect something that's completely unrealistic, or at least not even be open to hearing about that, right? So, the other thing is really that they're committed till the end. I have a lot of people that they're gung-ho and they talk a big game, but then they just run off, and then I feel like they do this like disappearing act. And I'm happy to help people where they're at, but truthfully is like, if this is a really important area to you, I want to be there to have somebody get the end result that they're wanting, right? And my experience has been, unfortunately, I wish people would get amazing results, but there's a lot of underlying factors why people continue to default to some of the same patterns and then get themselves in another negative, career decision. So it's like a lot of my clients are coming to me because they're in a toxic work situation. So to really successfully make a transition and to have it be lasting, I think that's the distinguishing factor. They understand that getting a long-term beneficial result takes more than 3 weeks. So there's that understanding, right? So that's really what makes some of the things that I found makes a client a 5-star client. And what I do to make it a 5-star experience is that I'm continuously committed to learning how to better service the people I work with. And that means if there's something that's working better for people than not, that I'm going to put more of that into the material or to my coaching, just little tweaks and refinements that I'm always paying attention to. How could I deliver the best value for my clients? And that's an evolving process, right? Because it's never going to be perfect, but there's little things. Like, for example, I just changed one of the structures of my packaging for Brandy because I found that the discovery call was the most consistently viewed thing by my clients as the most valuable, right? So seeing that how valuable that was to people, I added on an extra 25 minutes to that call because I felt that being able to offer even more time on that discovery call was going to give them even more value, since they were already we were getting some great results, but there's only so much you could get on a 50-minute call, so I made it 75 minutes. So that's really me taking the time to listen to my customers, to listen to these 5-star clients and create a 5-star experience for them. How could I update my material so they're congruent with the times? I'm not giving them something that's static and dead. I'm continuously improving what I'm learning. I'm continuously studying on what's working best. I'm making myself committed to be the best at what I do and learn more and more and more about what's working to give my clients a better experience. And so those are some of the things I wanted to talk about today. And what I'm excited to share, speaking of that, is I believe that one of the ways that I could help a lot of my executive and senior level clients is with their branding. And that's what I do. And that's actually something that LinkedIn hired me to do last year out of, from an outlier perspective, is I've made it to the top 35 people in the world to help job seekers with feedback on their LinkedIn profiles and branding suggestions. So obviously have a high level of skill on this particular area, and what I want to create for people is a group call. And so this is going to potentially morph into something that's ongoing, but my vision is that if I could do what I'm doing for individuals on a group level, then not only could I bring more value to more people, but I believe that the people that are going to be involved in these calls and supporting each other is going to make a huge, huge difference. I just did a mastermind call last week with a bunch of executives, and just pooling the connections of all those people was a really powerful experience on one call. And so I'm seeing this being able to transition into something more. I'm going to have a second set of calls that I'm going to do and a focus on networking, but this one is going to be purely focus on branding yourself on LinkedIn. And the reason why this is so challenging for so many executives is a few reasons. The first reason is what I call the old school model of branding, which I'm going to talk about in this, these group calls, doesn't work well anymore. The old school models of branding yourself and explaining your experience just do not work well at all, and they don't work well on LinkedIn. And I've have plenty of research to back that up. So I'm going to show people what the new school model is. And really it's just a challenge for anybody to do in particular. But when you've worked somewhere, at different roles for 30 years and you've had all these different titles and all these different promotions, it becomes extremely difficult, and I believe impossible, to effectively draw out what's most important and how to quantify, your accomplishments and how to tell it in a succinct way to attract the next opportunity. Because certain information isn't going to work well if you're going for one job next than it is for another. And that's why branding really is a process. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to help people see what's working now, on LinkedIn to brand yourself. And that's where, over 95% of recruiters are. And speaking of making a 5-star experience, I am working to get a seasoned recruiter on one of the calls to also give feedback, right? So it's like, not only am I giving you feedback from, coaching perspective and having worked for LinkedIn, but I'm also going to give you feedback from a recruiter that's been doing this for a while and, how that matches up to what's actually working and not working in the marketplace. So I'm going to leave a link below. I'm having a Q&A call tomorrow. I would recommend, even if you cannot make it to the call tomorrow, that you put your name in, or you could email me. If you don't show up, I could send you the replay link. I'd highly encourage you to be there. But if you absolutely can't make it, I understand the short time, the short notice. I would just say click on it, and so you could at least be on there, and then let me know with a private email that you can't make it, and I will send you the replay of it. And that's what I got today. So looking forward to doing this with people. The plan is to start it at the end of this month. So, this would be something for people that are obviously wanting to get results, now, right? If you're tired of the lack of positive results that you're getting in this area, this would be a really good fit for people in leadership positions. Again, 45 to 65-year-olds primarily. But if you're feeling, my message is, if you're listening to this and you really feel called that this is what you need right now, I'd say just go for it. You know what I mean? And just trust that you're going to get what you need and much more. So that's the message for today. And until next time, take care.